Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T Viewers TV. Well, it is an absolutely gorgeous evening here in the Emerald City, Seattle, Washington, and Safeco Field, where the Rangers are getting set to hook it up with the Seattle Mariners in the first of three. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this Monday night of Rangers baseball, and should be a dandy. The weather couldn't be any better, and the Rangers couldn't be more ready to get a couple of wins put together. Miles Michaelis tonight on the hill for the Rangers, and he has pitched pretty well, despite not having much to show for it of late.
Yeah, you know, Buzz, he's had a struggle at home for whatever reason, but on the road he's pitched pretty well. He had a decent start in Miami on the last road trip, and you look at the overall numbers on the road, they're pretty good. He's had 5 starts. His ERA is 3.33. Not many walks, pretty good strikeout totals. Opponents on the road are only hitting 220. This traditionally is a pretty good ballpark to pitch in. He's pitching pretty well on the road, and hopefully this will be a game for Miles where he pounds the strike zone and can pitch into the 6th inning or beyond.
And you would hope the Rangers would be able to get him a little bit of run support early, which is something he hasn't enjoyed too much of late either. So we will see what happens here in Game 1. Miles Michaelis and the Rangers taking on the Seattle Mariners, who have won 7 of their last 10. Adrian Beltre, the former Mariner, in the lineup for the Rangers. We'll come back with the starting lineups to the first pitch and more right after this. Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. The Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event, now playing at a Ford dealer near you. By AT&T Uverse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT, mobilizing your world. And by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. Mount Rainier to the southeast of downtown Seattle. We'll be back to Safeco Field to give you the starting lineups and the first pitch coming up right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. To cheer their hometown Rangers on to a victory, hopefully, over these Seattle Mariners. A lot of folks around the hotel today coming up from the Metroplex. The American League West standings as we are right now going into tonight's play. The Angels with a one-game lead after beating Oakland yesterday. Six back is Seattle, and Seattle playing extremely well. We mentioned they have not only won 7 of the last 10, but also 15 of their last 20. They have made headway in not only the division but the wild card. And Mariners holding on to that second wild card spot right now by a game over the Detroit Tigers. Now let's take a look at the Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers starting lineup tonight. Very similar to yesterday's lineup. Daniel Robertson leads off, plays left field. Elvis Andrus is at short. Alex Rios bats third, plays right. Adrian Beltre, the former Mariner and a hot hitter over his last 8 ball games, batting cleanup. J.P. Arancibia is the DH. Adam Rosales at first base tonight. Leonis Martin in center. Batting 8th and catching in his major league debut, Tomas Tellez. And Rugnet Odor, the second baseman, bats 9th.
And we'll check the Sonic scouting report for Roenis Elias. He's 9-10 on the season. He's had 24 starts. He's pitched pretty well for the Mariners. The ERA is a solid 4.09. Rookie rankings, second in innings pitched, third in strikeouts. He's had 2 starts against the Rangers. They've gone pretty well. He's 1-0. His ERA is 2.92 in those 2 starts.
So Elias on the hill tonight. We'll take a look at the Mariners defense that will back up the young man, brought to you by Progressive. Outfield looks like this with Ackley in left, the new center fielder Austin Jackson out there in center, Indy Chavez, former Ranger, in right field. Logan Morrison at first, Robinson Cano, and Chris Taylor, the youngster at shortstop. Kyle Seager is at third, and Mike Zunino, the rookie catcher, behind the plate tonight. Well, ready to get things underway here in Seattle. Gorgeous evening with the temperatures in the mid-70s here at first pitch. Roof is open, not a breath of breeze blowing at the moment. Well, here's Daniel Robertson. And the first pitch to him is high and away for ball one. Daniel, 288 with the average. No home runs and 15 driven in. Elias back to him, and Robertson fouls it off to the right. Robertson getting his second straight start. Rangers in the middle of a 3-game span where they will face 3 consecutive left-handed starters, and that's after not having faced one for about 10 days. They have fared well of late against left-handers. Robertson takes outside. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Elias is coming down the stretch on a pennant contender, and he's getting into uncharted territory as far as how many innings he's pitched in any one season. He'll surpass his season of most innings. That was 2012 when he had 148 innings. The Mariners decided to send him to the minor leagues for one start. He only threw 62 pitches in that start, so they're a little bit concerned about monitoring that. After the All-Star break, he hasn't pitched quite as much, but he's pitched very well since the break. 2.10 ERA, more strikeouts than innings pitched. And I guess, Buzz, as you look at all the contenders, that's something that could play a big part in September, is the rookie pitchers in the rotations who have never had 160, 70, 80, 90 inning seasons.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Every team's got them. You know, the Danny Duffy, Giordano Ventura for Kansas City are 2 youngsters. Elias here. Oakland's got some young starters, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
That's high and away. The count is full now to Robertson. So Daniel trying to lead off by getting aboard. He'll be followed by Elvis Andrus. Yeah, you know, one of the things that we pay a price for is not pushing a guy before he gets to the big leagues a little bit. Building up innings so that when he gets to the big leagues, you don't have to answer that question.
Well, that's a good point. You seem like you have 140 innings at most in the minor leagues, and then you get to the big league and you're asked to throw 50 more.
Yeah, Daniel Robertson plugging that gap in left center. He is around first, headed for second, and in with a slide. Daniel Robertson opening up tonight just like he did yesterday. A double into a gap. He is at second with nobody out.
He's definitely opening up some eyes, too. He continues to play well, getting his opportunities, and pretty much every facet of the game he's playing very well. Defensively, he's running the bases. Mentioned this yesterday. He's also 4 for 7 pinch hitting, which is a very difficult role, especially for a young player. He gets a fastball on the inside part of the plate, puts another good swing on it, finds a hole in the gap, and if he's got an opportunity, because he busts it out of the box, he's always going to go for 2. And he's in easily on that double.
Oh, here's Elvis. Same situation he faced yesterday with the double by Robertson in the opening frame, and that pitch fouled back. It is 0-1. Elvis at 269. A couple of home runs. He has driven in 32. Daniel Robertson at second base. Elvis trying to at least get him over to third. Trying to take that ball to the right side. Fouls it back the second straight time. It is 0-2. Elvis 0 for 4 yesterday. Although he did have a walk, and just 2 for 11 on the homestand. And despite those negatives, he's reached base safely in 14 straight games. And that's either by a hit or a walk. Pretty good job of getting on base, and he's hit safely in 24 of his last 28 games. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
We go back to right before the All-Star break. Elias was struggling a little bit. He had 2 starts where he pitched a total of 8 1/3, gave up 14 hits and 12 runs, and seemed to really benefited by some time off, and he's pitched much better after the break. Most pitches he's ever thrown, 148, and if you combine his start at AAA that he had this month, he's thrown 143. He'll probably, depending on how well he pitches today, either come close or go a little bit past the most innings he's ever pitched. But he's not 19 or 20. He's 25 years old. Shouldn't be that big a deal, should it?
No, I wouldn't think so. But you know, it just depends on what kind of a foundation you've laid for the young man. It's outside.
But I don't think you ever see a young pitcher between the ages of 18 and say 23 throw much more than 150 innings in the minor leagues.
Yeah, and I just, if you expect that when you get to the big leagues to have a guy that may be capable of throwing 200 innings, you probably ought to find out how close he can get in the minor leagues before you ask that of him. Breaking ball low and in, and Elvis with the count full. So, Elias had the advantage in the count 0-2. Elvis has worked it back to run the count all the way out. Elvis hitting second in the order. He has Robertson at first. Alex Rios, the Ranger number 3 hitter, is in the on-deck circle. Robertson at second, excuse me. Now the payoff pitch. Got a pretty good piece of Mike Zunino on the foul tip.
You're talking about innings, Buzz. In the minor leagues, the season ends early in September. And unless you go to the postseason or get called up, your season is over. And if you get five extra starts in September, and then if you go to postseason and you're expected to pitch, you're looking at maybe 5, 6, 7 extra starts and as many as 30 or 40 innings tacked on to what you've already got.
And Elvis foul tips that one into the glove for the strikeout. One gone. Yep. Well, in case you hadn't heard, some news today from the Rangers camp alongside Tomas Tillis. Shin-Soo Choo has gone on the disabled list. He's going to have surgery on his left elbow to remove a bone spur, so he will be finished for the season. And Michael Choice recalled from AAA Round Rock as of this afternoon. Shin-Soo Choo battling ankle and elbow problems the entire year, and he's finally going to get that elbow fixed and give the ankle a chance to heal.
We're hoping to do that surgery within the next couple of weeks. Right now he's got a virus that won't let him have any surgeries. He's got to get that over with first. Then as soon as they can, they'll perform the surgery.
Virus on top of everything else. Do you get the feeling that Shin-Soo Choo hasn't had a fun year?
Yeah,
with all the problems?
I'd say join the crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's been part of a MASH unit as it is with the rest of the Rangers. But for him personally, it's been a tough year, too. And that virus seems like it's just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Ron Washington, Tim Ballgard, the entire coaching staff has had to try and make do with what they had. And sometimes what they had was a fairly bare cupboard.
And it's too bad, too, because 6 weeks into the season on a nightly basis, we were pretty much saying the Rangers have gotten exactly what they wanted in Shin-Soo Choo when he was hitting about 350. His on-base percentage was 450 or 460. He was playing great. So it looked so good at the beginning and then ended up so badly because of all the injuries that he had.
1-2 the count to Alex Rios. Rios a .283 average. Off the end of the bat, that is foul outside first. We'll try it again. Rios second on the team with 52 RBI, 4 home runs, and that's been the biggest negative for Alex this year is the power outage. And pretty inexplicable as far as he's concerned what's happened. But I would think for him, not having a regular lineup, an experienced lineup around him, makes his lack of power really stand out to you. Just inside. Elias popped that fastball and threw a little cut fastball to keep it in there. Almost got the call. See our pitch tracker showing you just a couple of inches off that corner. So now it's a 2-2. Daniel Robertson trying to get a pretty good lead out there at second base. Shot foul.
The Rangers have made Elias throw a lot of pitches. He's already thrown 21 pitches to 3 hitters. Got a good fastball, 90, 93. Real good changeup. They're making him work right now.
Yep. Elias out there talking with Robinson Cano and Mike Zunino. Elias, the Cuban native from Guantanamo, defected to Mexico back in 2010, signed as a free agent in May of 2011 by the Mariners. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A check of second. Breaking ball inside and low. A great stop by Zunino to keep Robertson to second.
I'd say he's just picked that thing right in the middle of his glove. What a play.
Yeah, if that doesn't get his glove completely solid, it's all the way to the backstop, and Rangers have a runner at third. But it is a full count now. The payoff pitch is looped to right field. Going out, Cano still going out. Over the shoulder, he makes the catch, and Robertson scampering back to second. Nice play by Cano, who had broken to the bag to keep Robertson close and had a long way to go for that pop-up, but got there with plenty of time. Now that is out number 2, and here comes Adrian Beltre. Beltre with first base open, and we've seen this a few times of late as you get a look at that last play. But Beltre has not been seeing many pitches to hit in these opportunities. That's off the glove of Zunino all the way to the backstop. Robertson to third, and he wasn't taking anything for granted. He rounded third aggressively and put the brakes on.
Yeah, he caught that pitch before that, a couple of pitches before that bounced. He had to lift his glove up high to catch it. And that ball went right off his glove and he didn't catch it.
Might have been a result of the one before that he was able to pick, and he kind of got nonchalant on catching that one. Or it could have moved a lot more than he thought, too. 1 ball and no strikes to Beltre. Another pitch down and in.
He's struggling back there. See how he caught that ball? He caught that ball with the palm of his glove facing down.
Adrian, third in the American League with that .327 average, 17 home runs, 66 runs driven in. Line drive to right. Toward the line, Chavez makes the catch up above cap high. Well, Beltre did indeed get a pitch to hit, and he hit it on the nose, but Chavez ran it down. No runs a hit, 1 left for the Rangers after a half inning. Rangers nothing, Mariners coming up. Lead-off double in the first. They strand a runner. Now the Mariners come to bat here in the bottom of the first. Austin Jackson leads off. He's the center fielder. The hot Dustin Ackley is batting second. Robinson Cano, the second baseman, is third. The DH is Kendrys Morales batting cleanup. Kyle Seager's at third. Logan Morrison, the first baseman, 8-game hitting streak for the Seattle Mariners. Mike Zunino catches. Andy Chavez in right. And Chris Taylor, the young shortstop, bats ninth.
Sonic scouting report for Miles Michaelis. 1-5, an ERA of about 7.5.
The road starts, as we mentioned, are much better than the home starts by over 10 runs. 334 on the road, 1373 at home. First career appearance against Seattle. It's on the road in a pretty good pitcher's ballpark. Hopefully Miles will take advantage of the good stuff that he has, pound the strike zone with his sinker, and mix in his curveball and his other pitches. Throw a lot of strikes, get ahead of the hitters, and have a good ball game.
Kind of like that, Austin Jackson.
It's kind of what we had in mind.
Yeah. Austin Jackson, the former Tiger, of course, a North Texas native from Denton. 0-1 pitch, and that is a bit high. Jackson coming over from the Tigers. He had been hot, too, with Detroit. He'd been hitting over 300 in the month of July, and the Tigers unloaded him. There's a swing and a miss. Jackson now down to the count, and a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, Seattle has been playing well since he got here. He's only hitting about 239 in the 21 games he's been here, but the Mariners are playing well. He brings a lot to the table. He's a very good defensive player who can run him down in center field.
And he's gone on strikes as Michaelis heats him up upstairs. That is out number 1. Now let's take a look at the Rangers defense while we have a moment. It's delivered to you by Chicken Express. Outfield of Robertson, Martin, and Rios left, center, and right. Rosales at first. Odor and Andrews up the middle. Adrian Beltre is at third. And Tomas Telis, the rookie catcher, making his major league debut behind the plate. Now one of the hotter Mariner hitters, Dustin Ackley.
High fastball, and Austin Jackson just couldn't make any contact with it. Threw it by him.
Big breaking ball, and that nudges the outside corner. It is 0-2. Now Ackley driven in a run per game in the last 17 ball games.
The longer his beard gets, the better he seems to be hitting the ball.
He went around, and Ackley had to wait for a second on the appeal. Delis gets it and fires to first to complete the strikeout.
It's a tough call for a hitter. You don't want to strike out, so you're hoping that you don't get the call. But if he sprinted toward first base right off the bat, might have been a little different.
Oh, a pair of strikeouts now. Delis very heavily involved in this one.
If he takes off right now, he might be able to get there, but he's hoping that it's called a ball and a check swing. That's why he's not running. I guess you figure as a hitter, if you take off running, the umpire's going to call it a strike because he thinks you thought it was a strike.
And there's a line shot off the bat of Cano, but right to Beltre. Big smile on Adrian's face looking into Cano, and Cano was having nothing to do with it. It's a 1-2-3 inning. We'll go to the second at Safeco. No score. Strikeout hunger. Bring pasta, peanut butter, rice, beans, or any two non-perishable food items to Globe Life Park on September the 5th or September the 6th and get a coupon good for a free Whataburger while supplies last. All donations will support the Tarrant Area Food Bank in North Texas.
Well, as you mentioned, a lot of fans from Texas around the hotel. A couple of great Ranger fans, Randy and Claudine Geisel, are here. They want to say hi to their friends back home, especially their friends in Section 29 back at the ballpark. Jim and Libby and their great usher, Danette. Randy and Claudine travel a lot. Usually see them at least one stop along the way every year.
Saw
Doing that
Randy
for
this
a long
morning
time.
at my favorite coffee shop downstairs. Sat and had a nice little chat.
Did you?
Yeah. He's doing well. He's all excited about this series. Excited to be here with the weather the way it is.
Sure.
0-2 to JP Arancibia. JP just 175, but as we continue to mention, it's been a pretty potent 175. He's hit over 300 since coming back to the ball club at the All-Star break. 1-2 pitch from Elias. Now 2-2. Arancibia in his last 23 games has hit 215. Driven in 20 runs in those 23 games. 2-2 pitch coming from the left-hander. Got him swinging. Elias, a pretty tough combination. That good lively fastball and a sharp late breaking hook. Second strikeout. Adam Rosales will be next.
Elias takes a little bit off that pitch, either a changeup or a little slider down. Fooled JP. See JP stepping a little bit toward third base. He's trying to pull the ball, trying to hit the ball with some power. Sometimes that can play into the hand of the pitcher, though.
Adam Rosales, a .345 hitter as he steps in. And no surprise, he goes up there hacking at the first thing he sees and fouls it off. Adam, one of the more aggressive hitters you're going to see, but he has made it work well for him. He was 2 for 4 yesterday. And he brings in a 4-game hitting streak, in which he has gone 6 for 12. The average is overall 3 home runs, 13 RBI. A ball and a strike. This is Adams' 9th start in the month of August. He's been a .429 hitter in the first 8 starts. 1-2.
Well, both Adam and Daniel Robertson are both aggressive players, but they're fairly patient at the plate. They will take a walk. Adams walked 7 times. He's only had 58 at bats. Daniel's walked 11 times. Inordinate amount of walks, but fairly solid number of walks.
Yep.
And that's kind of the name of the game. Be aggressive when you get a good pitch to hit, yet at the same time don't play into the pitcher's hand and swing at pitches out of the strike zone. That's what every hitter strives for.
Rosales getting back in the box, a ball and 2 strikes the count. Elias okays the sign. Got him swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts and a nasty breaking ball. 3 punch-outs for Elias. And with 2 outs, Leonis Martin will come up.
He's got, again, a good fastball, a good changeup, and you see a really good curveball. Hadn't thrown a lot of them yet, but we'll see more as the game goes on.
Leonis, a .268 average. And takes strike one. But Leonis, against left-handed pitching in particular, has started bunting, and bunting effectively in the last 10 ball games. And one of the reasons that he has been able to stay in against left-handers, Ron Washington has been impressed with his desire, Leonis' desire to try and bunt the ball, and getting a few bunt base hits. See the third baseman Kyle Seager respecting that ability, and he's in right at the cut of the grass. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Not so much for the idea of bunting. I talked him right out of it. 5 home runs, 32 runs driven in for the Rangers center fielder. Got him swinging. Yoenis Elias strikes out the Rangers side in order. And we have finished 1.5 in Seattle. No score. For a chance to have it shown on one of our upcoming broadcasts, and that's thanks to the good folks at AT&T. Just use hashtag SouthwestFanPhoto, and your photo might be selected to be aired during the season on one of our Fox Sports Southwest broadcasts. We'll have tonight's selection a little bit later on for you. Scoreless ball game. Rangers with the only hit. That was a leadoff double by Daniel Robertson in the first inning. Mariners come to bat after being sent down in 1-2-3 fashion by Miles Michaelis in the first. Kendrys Morales, the designated hitter, takes a strike to the outside corner.
We're talking about pounding the strike zone. All 4 hitters have seen a strike on the first pitch.
And Miles with 9 pitches, 8 of them have been strikes. Morales, the switch hitter, up there from the left side. He chops one weakly down the first baseline into foul territory. And very quickly, the count goes to 0-2. Miles Michaelis, the Jupiter, Florida native. He's outing against the Marlins down in Miami the first time that he pitched in front of his home crowd as a professional. He said that, contrary to what he had expected, there were still some butterflies. He's been at this for a little while now at the major league level. So there was still a little tension. 1-2, the count to Morales. Pop foul, Beltre over, and onto the warning track. Adrian able to track that down for out number 1.
Well, Miles is throwing strikes with all his pitches. Fastball, a cut fastball, a curveball, and a changeup. Through 4 hitters, a good start.
And that last outing we were talking about, he went into the 6th inning, did not retire anyone. 5 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs. That was the game the Rangers ended up going extra innings and lost 4-3. And Miles did a pretty good job in that ball game. Here's Kyle Seager, the Mariners leader with 19 home runs, 80 RBI. He takes outside for ball 1. Seager a .277 average. Of course, against the Rangers, all bets are off,
Yeah, it
because he
doesn't
has just
matter.
worn them out.
He could be 0 for 40 when he comes into the Rangers. He might as well be 50 for 50.
Especially at Globe Life Park in Arlington. Not quite as bad here, although almost every hit that he has is a big one.
You know, in this ballpark, it's pretty amazing looking at their stats. In this park this year, he's hit .335 and 15 of his 19 home runs have come in this ballpark. That's kind of shocking, because you hear about this being a tougher place to hit home runs. When Cano came here, it's okay, his home run totals are going to go down. He's not hitting in Yankee Stadium. He's hitting in Safeco. Yet Seager's hit 19 home runs and hit 15 of them here. He's only a .225 hitter on the road. That must come in our ballpark, though. He'd be below 200 if he didn't hit in our park.
That's right. He's still, I think, around 360 in Globe Life Park. Low and inside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, I think over the years now that Seager, too, has learned in this ballpark what pitches he can turn on and try and drive out of the ballpark. For a left-handed hitter here, it's a fairly short porch in right field compared to every place else. So if you can pull the ball as a left-handed hitter, you've got a better than even chance of getting it out of the yard.
He found one to pull against Alexia Gondo earlier in the year.
He did. Yeah.
Turned that win into a loss.
Big breaking ball, hangs high. And the count to Seager has gone full now. So Kyle Seager hitting 5th, trying to get aboard with 1 out. Logan Morrison, the first baseman for the Mariners, waits to be next. Michaelis okays the sign. The right-hander sets. Payoff pitch to Seager. Well, he went with a changeup. Seager had it timed pretty well, but fouled it away.
He had a good swing at it. Probably not exactly where he wanted it either.
Now Michaelis again with a 3-2. In the air to left field, hit pretty well. Robertson going back. It is caught right at the wall. Daniel turning the wrong way at first. Made a great adjustment and plucked it off the wall right over the top of his head.
Yeah, some guys can't make that adjustment. Once they turn the wrong way, they're kind of in deep trouble. But Daniel, with quickness and agility, was able to make the adjustment. He thinks the ball is over his left shoulder right here, and then realizes it's not. But turns all the way around, doesn't panic, and takes a deep breath and says, "Whew, glad I located that one and caught it. That wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be." That's okay. It went in the glove.
Yep, that it did. Well, 2 outs. Here's Logan Morrison. The pitch just off the outside corner for ball 1. Morrison, 244 for the year, 6 home runs, 27 RBI. But of late, he has really been swinging the bat well. He's hit safely in 21 of his last 22 ball games. Line drive, base hit to left center. Over to cut it off, Daniel Robertson. Morrison hangs on with a sharp single.
And that's the definition of a rope right there. That had the sound, the trajectory, and it jumped off his bat. Slicing line drive in left center field, almost handcuffed Daniel out in left field.
Well, the Mariners with their first base runner tonight. Morrison's 2-out single. 1 on, 2 out. Mike Zunino, the young catcher up there. Zunino having a very good year power-wise. He is second in the major leagues for catchers with 18 home runs. 47 driven in, but hitting just 206. He has been kind of an all-or-nothing hitter this year. 355 at-bats, and he has struck out 130 times. But when you're going to hit 18 home runs, that's a pretty good trade-off. That's high and tight. The other thing that I'm not really sure I can come up with a reason for, he's been hit 14 times. That's most of the Mariner club. It's not like he stands right on top of the plate.
Yeah, I don't know either. Unless he just doesn't react very well to the pitch inside.
That could be. He's got kind of an open stance with another pitch up and in, almost hit him.
He doesn't give a whole. He like Kinsler. He doesn't give much up there. Turned to get his head out of the way, but he was perfectly willing to take it in the shoulder if that's where it happened.
Yeah,
that's a little too close for comfort for me. I might dive into the right on the grass behind me if it comes that close.
And ball 4. Well, Zunino draws the walk, and that's pretty rare in and of itself. That's only the 15th walk that he has drawn this year. So runners at first and second. All this happening with 2 outs, and Endy Chavez will come to the plate. Chavez, a .276 average. Mariners still dealing with some people on the disabled list. Michael Saunders, for one, who would be playing in the outfield almost on a daily basis on the disabled list, as is Corey Hart, outfielder, DH type player. And a big slow hook drops in to Chavez. It is 0-1. Nine of his last 12 games, he has had at least 1 hit in, a .393 average. As Logan Morrison at second, Mike Zunino at first. 2 outs here in the second. Ground ball. Rosales gobbles that up. He surrounded that ground ball. Takes it to the bag, and that'll do it. Well, Michael is able to work around a 2-out single and walk. 2 left aboard. After 2, no score in Seattle. Join the Rangers in a show of support for the family of sports writer, the late Richard Durrett. Join us at Billy Bob's, Texas on Monday, September the 8th for a special live concert and fundraising event. You can enjoy great live music featuring Casey Donahue and Rhett Miller and bid on one-of-a-kind sports packages plus memorabilia in both a live and silent auction. Log on to BillyBobsTexas.com. Get tickets there, and for more information on the packages and memorabilia, log on to doitfordurrett.com. All proceeds go to the Richard Durrett Family Fund. Chopper up the middle, and Talise is thrown out in his first major league at bat by Chris Taylor, the shortstop. Tomas Talise, we get a chance to tell you, a switch hitter that was tearing it up at both AA and AAA. This year, playing at both and hitting an average of about .316 at the 2 stops. But as a big leaguer, he's 0 for 1.
Yeah, you like the scouting reports that say he doesn't strike out very much. He makes good contact from both sides of the plate. Managers like that. You can do more things with him. Not afraid to hit and run. Better chance of getting a guy in from third base with less than 2 outs. Not going to strike out.
Rougned Odor taking strike one, bluffing a bunt that had Kyle Seager coming down the line from third. Rougned at 251 with the average. Takes that pitch a little bit low to even the count. Odor scuffling a bit of late. He is just 6 for his last 34. That's a 176 average. You see the last 21 games, just 195. To center field, Austin Jackson got a pretty good jump on it, makes the catch. Odor is retired. That's 2 away. Now back to the top of the order for Daniel Robertson. Let's take time here for a Mazda game break with Dana Larson. Dana? All right, Dana, thank you. Here we have a scoreless ball game in the top of the third inning. And our wild card standings for you. See Oakland on top. They are a game back of Los Angeles Angels in that Western Division. Seattle 5 back of Oakland, but they are ensconced in the number 2 spot for the wild card. Detroit a game back starting play tonight.
Yeah, Oakland just had Sean Doolittle go on the disabled list. Their excellent all-star closer. So both teams, both the top teams, having some injuries. All the top teams, for that matter.
2-1 to Robertson.
Doesn't look like Seattle has any right now.
Man, Oakland got a scare with Josh Donaldson, too.
Yeah.
Although he came back into the lineup.
Garrett Richards, that was a crippling blow. They're Angels' #1 starter. And they've got some veteran guys. But you look at their best starter, who you want to start the big game right now, it's Garrett Richards. And he's out for the year. Jared Weaver, C.J. Wilson, they're still solid veterans, but they weren't throwing the ball like Garrett Richards was.
Elias back with a 3-1 pitch. And he gets a belt high strike. So Daniel Robertson has run the count full. He is trying to get aboard with 2 outs, extend this third inning. Elvis Andrus will follow in the order. Elias to the wind, the payoff pitch. Ball 4. Daniel Robertson, who had a couple of walks yesterday, gets a walk here today. And 1 on, 2 out for Elvis. Andrus went down swinging the first time that he faced Elias tonight. Infield playing Andrus about 2 steps around to the left, the outfield straight away. The first pitch high and away for ball 1. And all of a sudden, Roenis Elias having a little trouble nailing down the strike zone.
Well, in his last start, he started on early in August, and then he was sent to the minor leagues. He had a start there, and then when he got called up, his last start, he walked 6 guys in 4 innings. That was on the 18th at Philadelphia.
Yeah, and for a young pitcher, typically, that's almost always attributable to fatigue. Being at a place, health-wise where you haven't been before. Something's changed, and you're trying to force things. Rick Waite's going out there to talk to him about it. And, I think that's a hump you have to get over by experiencing it. What kind of adjustments do you have to make? How can you find a good level to pitch at exertion-wise and still get the job done? 1 ball, no strikes the count to Andrus. Now 2-0. Elvis a 268 average. He's got Daniel Robertson at first with pretty good speed here in the top of the third inning. Two and 1. Elvis going to celebrate a birthday tomorrow. Ron Washington said he plans on giving Elvis a partial day off and letting him DH. He's going to turn 26.
It's funny, you get a 26-year-old just gets called up to the big leagues for the first time. Young man's getting his first opportunity at the big leagues.
Right.
It's been big leagues for about 6 years.
The 2-1. There goes Robertson. The pitch is a strike. The throw is in time. They got it. Well, Daniel Robertson trying to slide by the bag instead of sliding in feet first, and he got caught. Well, that'll do it. Rangers have Robertson thrown out after 2.5. No score. Ball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by the all-new Mazda 3 with seamless connectivity. Well, all manner of Ranger gear. There's an old style tee for you on the Ranger hat. I like that.
That's an interesting look, too.
Throwback hat.
Throwback hat with throwback sideburns.
Chris Taylor, young shortstop in his first go-around at the big league level, getting off to a great start for Seattle, a .329 average. Slow chopper cut off by Beltre. One gone. I'll go back and take a look at Daniel Robertson getting caught stealing.
Strong throw by Zunino. And Cano slaps the tag on him.
Well, it's one of those ones that, Mark McLemore's talked about that, about the art of stealing bases and sliding to the bag instead of trying to catch it with your hand going to the outside or inside. Said more often than not, he found that it was more beneficial is to go hard right to the bag. But to each his own. Top of the order one more time for the Mariners, and Austin Jackson, who went down on strikes. His first time is up there. Hard hit, but there's Beltre picking it right off the dirt for out number 2. Jackson hit a rocket. The Rangers had their rocket defense in play.
Cano hit one at Beltre sort of hard. This was hit really hard. Good thing he caught that ball. Would have hit him, looked like right in the right kneecap, right ankle. Took it right off the ground. Nice play. Got a hockey goalie trying to catch that ball. Pretty solid contact by Austin Jackson on that one.
Here's Dustin Ackley, and that breaking ball stays well high and outside for ball 1. Ackley, a strikeout in the first inning. 255 the average now. Takes that pitch knee high for strike one. A ball and a strike.
Earlier in the year, when we were playing the Mariners, Ackley was hitting about 210, 220. And you're almost wondering how much longer are they going to stick with him. He's been in the big leagues for a few years, really has never gotten hot and shown any signs of becoming the kind of player that where he was drafted indicated the kind of player he might be. But now, Buzz, he might be starting to show it.
Yeah.
It's kind of an extended period of time, 150, 175 at bats, where he's really starting to put it together. Hitting up in the top of the lineup now. What was that stat you had? He's driven in
a run, 17 runs in the last 17 games.
I mean, that's producing some runs.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just taking him a while. He probably got to the big leagues pretty quick. And maybe right now he's starting to come into his own, but that would be a huge shot in the arm for the Mariners if that is the case.
Ackley grounds out to Andrus, and it's a very quick and tidy 1-2-3 inning for Miles Michaelis and company. We have finished 3 in Seattle. The Rangers nothing, the Mariners nothing. Your child a chance to take pitcher Martin Perez to school. Log on to MetroPCS, takeaplayer.com for your chance to win. Metro PCS, wireless for all. Rangers come to bat here in the top of the fourth. Elvis Andrus was left standing at home plate when Daniel Robertson was caught trying to swipe second to end the third. 1 ball, no strikes, the count to Elvis. And a high strike called. 1-1. Todd Tishner, by the way, the home plate umpire tonight. Elias back to the plate. 2-1 now. Rangers have had a grand total of 2 base runners tonight. They've both been named Daniel Robertson. Robertson led the game off by doubling, and he walked in the third inning. Other than that, Elias has not allowed any other Ranger to reach base. But he's fallen behind now. 3 balls and a strike to Elvis. Oh, Elvis trying to get aboard to start off this fourth inning. Alex Rios will follow in the Ranger scheme of things. Left-hander goes to the wide. The 3-1 pitch is shot into center field, a base hit. You get most good hitters in a hitter situation. There you hit the ball hard someplace. That's exactly what Elvis did.
You know you're going to get a fastball in that situation. He does not want to walk Elvis. Elvis is not a home run threat, so you don't feel like if you groove one, you've got a chance of giving up a home run. So he's just grooving a fastball there trying not to walk him. And Elvis took advantage of it, put a good swing on it, and ripped it into center field.
Second hit of the night. Now Elvis with 23 stolen bases is aboard, and Elias will go to work on it. Those 23 bases tie Elvis for 6th in the American League, by the way. Alex Rios popped out to Robinson Cano, his first time up. Rios at 283. He takes outside for ball 1. Rios coming into play tonight was 6th in the American League with a 343 average against left-handed pitching. There goes Elvis, and the pitch is fouled away. Well, Elvis had a great jump. No way Zunino was going to be able to throw him out, but Alex had a pretty good pitch to hammer on, too, and he fouled it away.
Elvis didn't know where the ball was. Cano pointed up in the stands behind home plate. You can go back to first base. Right now, Elvis is looking, but he doesn't know where the ball is.
Now 1-1 the count. Another foul ball. This one back to the screen. 1-2 to Rios. Alex been battling assorted injuries. That jammed thumb that kept him out a couple of games in Miami. Also the ankle that he tweaked right after the All-Star game. Heard that up in Toronto. He's been banged up, and as a result, the average has suffered. Just a 154 mark in the last 19 ball games for Rios. 1-2 as Elvis gets that lead at first. Breaking ball called strike 3. Throws it at home plate like a popsicle, and Alex Rios is gone on strikes. Strikeout number 5 for Elias.
Oh, Elias is at the top of his game. He's tough. He's got a good assortment of pitching. That's a good breaking ball. A good changeup tonight, and a good sneaky fastball, too.
Well, folks, on Thursday, September the 4th, Rangers get back off this road trip and open a series against these Mariners. It'll be a 7:05 game, and the first 15,000 fans receive a Shin-Soo Choo bobblehead. Get your tickets for the first September giveaway at TexasRangers.com. And no, the Shin-Soo Choo bobblehead will not have a Band-Aid on the elbow, in case you were wondering.
Well, this will be the one. This will be after surgery.
Snap throw to first, and just back in time. Elvis getting that hand in there.
Elvis is way off the bag, but even with a left hand throwing first baseman, he's still able to get back.
And Beltre takes ball 3. So, Elias showing no desire to throw a good pitch for Adrian. Beltre lined to right field his first time up.
Yeah, you have to be a little more careful to Adrian than you do with Elvis. If you groove him a fastball because you don't want to walk him, he might take it out of the ballpark.
And that is a 4-pitch walk issued to Beltre. So Adrian to first, down to second is Elvis, 1 away, and J.P. Arancibia will come to the plate. I really have a feeling in the first inning that was what Elias was trying to do to Beltre then too. He just made a mistake and got one too close.
Yeah.
Arancibia down on strikes as he led off the second. Elvis stepping that lead off right at the bottom of your screen from second base. Snap throw back there and just barely getting back. Robinson Cano playing very close to the bag, almost like he's holding him on. And that throw by Elias right on the money. One ball, no strikes. Now Elias so far bothered by Elvis to the point of not making a real good first pitch to Aaron Sebia. See if that continues and see if JP can't get a pitch in a good hitting spot. Not bad there. Down the left field line. Over to cut it off. Ackley. Here comes Elvis. The throw going into third, and Elvis scores standing up. Aaron Sebia, an RBI single, gets the Rangers on the board. It's 1-0 Texas.
The Rangers had a lot of opportunities in yesterday's ball game. They scored 3 runs but missed a chance to get a bunch more. They had a leadoff double in the first and couldn't get him around, but maybe they can make a big inning out of it here in the fourth. JP gets a fastball down in the strike zone. Hit a little bit off the end of the bat, but lines it right over third. He picks up the first run for the Rangers, looking for another hit to plate some more here.
The Rangers getting 2 of their 3 hits in this inning. Couple that with a walk, and it's led to a run. Here's Adam Rosales. Rosales takes strike 1. Adam down swinging his first time. Now Beltre at second, Aaron Sebia at first. Skied to left center field. Austin Jackson, plenty of room out there. Beltre is going to tag at second, and Bluffa moved toward third, but he stays put as the throw comes in strongly to the cutoff man. Rosales out of the fly ball, and with 2 outs now, Leonis Martin will come up. That's the part of the ballpark out there from deepest right center field around to deepest left center field. Pitchers love it. It's very spacious. The ball typically at night anyway doesn't carry. It probably carries better tonight without the heavier air, but it's still a good sized ballpark between the alleys. Martin down swinging his first time up there. The breaking ball hangs high for ball 1. Beltre checking the players around him. That breaking ball stays inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Elias having command desert him from time to time. See the pitch totals 26 in that first inning. He's come back to keep it relatively low. Outside, 3-0. Leonis trying to get aboard to join Beltre and Aaron Sebia. Tomas Telis is waiting to be next. Elias sets at the belt, the 3-0 pitch. Right down the middle. Martin had scuffled against left-handers. He's had a couple of bunt base hits and a couple of other hits lately. He's gotten the batting average up to 206 this year against left-handed pitching. Had been down in mid-150s or so. 3-1 the count. 3-2. So with 2 outs, a full count. The runners will be off and moving. Beltre from second, Aaron Sebia from first.
He got it. As far as location goes, he got a pitch to hit. Still got a big one left.
Runners getting their lead. Elias checks him. The payoff pitch popped up, foul territory. Seager over at the railing of the Ranger dugout is back on top of the roof, bounding out of play. Tough time of the night. It's twilight here at Safeco, and boy, that ball goes up, and all of a sudden it blends in with the sky. Seager did a pretty good job of keeping his eye on it, so he knew where it was, didn't lose track of it. Now we will try it again with 3-2 and 2 out. Rangers have pushed across a run here in the fourth. They're looking for more, leading 1-0. Elias sets. Beltre and Arancibia on the move. 3-2 pitch is high, ball 4, and that will load him up for Telis.
That's where you kind of outsmart yourself right there, trying to throw a breaking ball 3-2, and your fastball is working pretty good. He's a little bit late on your fastball. Tried to trick him with a curveball. Now he's loaded up the bases. All right, Tomas didn't get hit his first time. He was waiting for the bases loaded to get his first hit.
Telis this season in the minor leagues, a .318 average between his stops, Frisco and AAA Round Rock. Took a rip at that first fastball and missed it. 0-1. Telis just called up today, making his major league debut here tonight. And he takes a breaking ball, dips in over the outside corner. Telis, a Venezuelan native. "23 years old, turned 23 in the middle of June." The 0-2 pitch. Come back and try it again. Tomas Telis is listed at 5'8" and 175. I think that might have been at an earlier age. He's a pretty stout young man up there. Got the bases full of Ranger teammates. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rangers with Beltre down at third, J.P. Arancibia at second, and Leonis Martin trailing them both. He's over at first. Buenos Elias studying the signs from Mike Zunino. Now the left-hander with a 1-2 pitch. Off the fist over to first. Cano into the outfield, turning and throwing, and he got him. Well, Morrison doing a tap dance with both feet, and he apparently, according to Clint Fagan, got the bag, but Ron Washington not so sure. He is coming out of the Ranger dugout. Now Tim Bogar on the field, on the phone to Joey Probinski, who's looking at the replays up in the Ranger replay room. And here's what he's going to look at. And the challenge has been issued. So Ron Washington getting the word that, yeah, we need to have him take a look at it.
Big challenge because you've got the bases loaded on the play.
Right. So Clint Fagan and Jim Wolf, the crew chief.
Looked like he was out from here.
Or Tim Timmons, I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought he was, but it's one of those deals. It depends on what replay angle you have to look at first. Timmons, the crew chief, and Fagan, who made the call, hooked up to the replay command center back in New York. Now it's out of their hands now. The call on the field was out at first base, and there has to be clear and convincing evidence to overturn that call. And we'll see what the folks in New York saw. There are a couple of umpiring crews assigned to the replay center. They have a couple of games they each keep an eye on. And Ron Washington putting it in the hands of the folks at the replay command center to make the determination on whether that was the correct call or not. I guess the question right there is, does Morrison have that left foot on the bag when he catches the ball?
Yeah, I can't tell.
I can't either. If that left foot is in contact as he catches the ball, then the out is recorded.
I don't know if it was.
Hard to tell. Now the ruling,
yes, it was,
is out, and the call stands on the field. Not confirmed, but stands. Well, that'll do it for the Rangers. They do get a run to take the lead after 3.5. 1-0 Texas. Kids every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Southwest, where it's not about the score, it's about the experience. There's an experience. Come out here to the ballpark and get that dog on a stick. Oops.
Well, you got the dog, but you don't have the stick anymore.
That's a problem. There we go.
He's working on that thing, boy.
Now, Rangers give Miles Michaelis a run with which to work, and he deals to Robinson Cano here in the fourth inning. First breaking ball is blowing inside for ball one. Cano lined out to Adrian Beltre, the first pitch he saw back in the first inning. Out of play down the left side. And the count evens out at a ball and a strike. Cano coming into play tonight, fourth in the American League with that .326 average, is 1 point behind Adrian Beltre. One pitch. Another one out of play down the left side. Mariners just got back off of a 9-game road trip. They went 6-3. Detroit, Philadelphia, and Boston were the 3 stops that they had. Cano was 10 for 34 on that trip. Just barely able to get a piece of it to stay alive. And Cano, the biggest thing that he has added to the offense, getting on base and scoring runs. He had 8 runs scored in the 9 games on that road trip. And in the last 17 games, he scored 14 times. So he has been a catalyst to the resurgent Mariner offense. Up the middle and into center field by the dive of Andrews. Well, Cano with just a second base hit of the night for Seattle. This one a leadoff single in the fourth inning.
Just stroked the ground ball, found a hole with it.
And something you're not used to doing when Cano gets on base, you got to keep an eye on him now. He wasn't asked to steal very much when he was a member of the Yankees, but he has been running and running very effectively here in Seattle.
12 out of 15.
Yeah.
He's also one of those great hitters who doesn't strike out much. 49 walks, 56 strikeouts. In today's game, 56 strikeouts at this stage of the season. That's not many strikeouts.
Yeah.
An age where most guys strike out 100 or more times.
And don't bat an eye at it.
No. Take the same swing 3-1 as they do 0-2.
Kendrys Morales fouled out to Adrian Beltre his first time up. Rangers shifted around to the right, not an extreme overshift. And Morales fouls the next pitch out of play. It's 0-2. Morales came over from the Minnesota Twins in exchange for Stephen Pryor, relief pitcher, back on the 24th of July, so just over a month ago. Last 10 ball games, he started to heat things up. 324 with 3 home runs. Our Jack in the Box pitch tracker showing you the last couple of pitches. 1-2 now. Of course, Morales coming up with the Angels. He also a native of Cuba. Outside. Remember, they got off to a great start, had a terrific rookie year, and then he was a fairly old rookie at 28. And in celebrating a walk-off home run with the Angels the next year, jumped on home plate as he rounded the baseman and broke his leg. Tore up his knee and has had all kinds of problems. It was almost 2 full years for him to get back to where he could play again. Two and 2, the count to him here. Cano at first, nobody out. Mariners at bat in the bottom of the 4th inning. Double play grounder. Elvis turns plenty of time to get it back to Rosales. 4-6-3. And Morales grounding into the double play. That erases Cano. 2 gone.
Yeah, you couldn't have gotten it any quicker than that. It wasn't a simple pickup, though, for Odor. The ball was hit pretty hard. But as long as he got the pickup, it was going to be a pretty much guaranteed double play. Not a simple hop. He played it like it was a simple hop, though. See how much time Elvis had to make the play.
I guess that's what happened when you have good hands. It makes those hops like that look simple.
Probably thinking it was simple.
Seager hits a 1-hop smash over to third. Beltre right there, and boy, just like that, turns into a very quick and easy 3 at-bat inning. A hit, nobody left. We're going to the 5th inning. It's the Rangers 1, the Mariners nothing. Brought to you by Progressive. This is the first of 10 games on this road trip. 2 more in Seattle after tonight, then on to Houston for 4 over the weekend. And then Labor Day, Rangers will be in Kansas City to take on the Red Hot Royals for 3. And it's back home, and most of the month of September is in Globe Life Park. Just 6 games after this road trip remaining on the road for the Rangers this year. Nick Martinez and James Paxton, the principals in tomorrow night's ball game here in Seattle. Rougned Odor will start things off for the Rangers here in the 5th inning. Texas on top 1-0. And Odor slaps one up the middle. Cano going across his body, able to get Rougned Odor. A classic Robinson-Cano play going up the middle.
It's funny how different guys make that kind of a play in different ways. Elvis, and I think Odor occasionally too, will go to his right, their right, and jump and throw it. Cano keeps his feet planted as he kind of slides and then throws against his body, but with the ability to get something on the throw. So everybody has a slightly different way of making that play.
And no matter how they do it, they have to have strong arms to be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. You don't think of a second baseman as having a strong arm, but a lot of them do.
Yeah. So 1 out, back to the top of the order, and Daniel Robertson, who has been on board both times tonight, takes strike 1. Robertson led the game off by doubling and walked his last time.
You have to think that most big league second basemen used to be shortstops.
Right.
And they moved to second for whatever reason. Sometimes maybe because they didn't have a strong enough arm. Maybe sometimes because they didn't have the agility and range to play shortstop, and it plays better over at second. But there's not many guys in the big leagues who play second base and have a very weak arm.
Chop foul, still 0-2. Now let's take a look at tonight's Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery. It didn't take long, right out of the chute. Daniel Robertson lining one into left center field. Second day in a row that Robertson led the game off with a double. And this one in freaky fast fashion. Thanks to Jimmy John's, Robertson at second, but he was left there by the Rangers. Takes the next pitch just off the outside corner. A ball and 2 strikes. Well, Daniel now with the average approaching 300. It's 294 at the moment. Elias into the line. And that pitch chopped down on Daniel's front foot. Rangers a run on 3 hits tonight. They put 2 of them together along with a walk in the 4th inning for their run. Mariners no runs on 2 hits. Ron Washington and Tim Bulgar have seen Miles Michaelis do a very good job of keeping this Mariner offense in check. Double play last inning off the bat of Morales certainly helped. Another 1-2 pitch. That will even the count. Daniel Robertson making his 9th start in this month of August. He came in hitting 344 in the first 8 starts. Takes that way outside, so he's gone from 0-2 to 3-2. And Daniel with 1 out trying to get aboard in front of Elvis Andrus.
92 pitches already for Elias, so he's hoping to get through 5 innings. He won't be pitching in the 6th inning, I wouldn't think, unless he gets a couple of really quick outs right here.
Payoff pitch. Lost him. Daniel Robertson with his 2nd straight walk. He has been aboard all 3 times tonight. And here comes Elvis with 1 out.
I mentioned that Elias in his last start walked 6 batters in 4 innings. That's his 4th walk now in 5 innings.
Rick Waite's the pitching coach, former Ranger.
Yeah, he was a teammate of mine way back in the 70s. Went to Cleveland in a trade. Had some good years for Cleveland too. Won 15, 16 games a couple of times with them.
Brandon Maurer out there in the bullpen, by the way. Well, while we have a minute here, we'd like to remind you that Fox Sports Southwest and the Rangers want to show you their appreciation for your support this season. So select tickets for the game on September the 9th against the Angels will be buy one, get one free. Go to TexasRangers.com and use the coupon code THANKS, Conference concluded. Robertson at first base. Identical to what he did in his first 3 at-bats yesterday. A leadoff double and 2 walks. Here's Elvis. And the first pitch is low for ball 1.
Well, if he keeps doing that the first 3 times up every game, he's going to be leading off a lot.
I would think so. There was one small difference in that yesterday, after the leadoff double in the first inning, he scored. But other than that, it's identical. Elvis swinging after that high pitch and with a vengeance, and came up empty. 1 ball, 1 strike. .270 the average for the Rangers shortstop. Single and a run scored in the 4th inning. Robertson driven back by a toss. Elias, a belt high set. Ended up to throw to first. Well, Logan Morrison better be ready over there, because Elias doesn't hold anything back when he makes a throw to first. He cuts it loose. Elvis waiting. And now time is called by Mike Zunino. We'll go back and try to recycle things. And now he wants to go have a talk with Roenis Elias. That didn't take long. Whoever had the say-so on the pitch just got their way real quickly. There's Mauer out there. 1 ball and 1 strike. Down to first, off the glove of Morrison. He'll have only 1 play, and that's back to the bag and into scoring position. Daniel Robertson. Well, Elvis, bad timing. If he hits that ball when there isn't a runner at first, he has extra bases.
You know what that play reminded me of?
Yeah, I do.
You remember that play?
Beltre.
Looked like the Rangers were going to either tie the game or win it. Smoke took that ball away. Looked like it was headed down the right field line earlier in the air with Adrian at bat. Just like that.
Yep.
Although I think Smoke was farther off the bag than that and had to come back and lunge for it to catch it.
Wow.
That would have been a double play if he caught it, so maybe the Rangers will get a break. And Alex Rios will dump one in and score. Daniel?
Alex tonight has popped out and been called out on strikes. Trying to increase that RBI total. 52 is the sum right now for Rios. Got Robertson out there at second. 1-0 pitch. The Rangers with a .243 team average with runners in scoring position. Actually, that average has come up quite a bit. The ball club has started hitting again with runners in scoring position. They were down below 200 for the better part of a month. Now they've gotten it back up. Elias a check of second. The 2-1 pitch coming. Pretty nasty little changeup right there.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Now the young man from Cuba, right at 100 pitches now. An okay of the sign, a check of Robertson. Got him swinging. Big strikeout for Roenis Elias. Rangers gone. The Walker left stranded. We played half the ball game. It's the Rangers 1 and the Mariners nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. season, you were given the choice to vote on a giveaway item, and you chose the Texas Rangers camo T-shirt. Well, on Thursday, September the 11th, the first 15,000 fans attending the game with the Angels will receive that T-shirt, courtesy of Fanatics. Great seats are still available for this game, and you can get them at TexasRangers.com, or you can go to 972 Rangers if you choose. Miles Michaelis set to go to work here in the bottom of the fifth inning, leading 1-0. Logan Morrison starting things off. And Morrison takes that big slow hook that bends in for strike one. Morrison has one of the two Seattle hits against Michaelis. That was a 2-out single in the second inning. He had a laser over the glove of Elvis Andrus at short. 1 ball, 1 strike. Talking at that time about Morrison. We had some injury problems earlier in the year, but boy, he has come back, and he's on a 9-game hitting streak now. He's gone 12 for 31 in those 9 games. It's high and outside, 2-1. He's also hit 360 since about a month ago. 29th of July. Michaelis sets at the belt, the 2-1 pitch. Now 3-1. Morrison in this 1-0 game. Rangers are leading, trying to get aboard to start the fifth inning. Be followed by the catcher Mike Zunino. Now, Logan Morrison getting back healthy, and the continued struggles of Justin Smoke have made it pretty tough for the former Ranger Smoke to get back in the lineup. He's down at AAA now. Left center field, good jump on the ball by Leonis Martin. That is out number 1. Time for another Mazda game break. Once again, here's Dana Larson. Dana? All right, Dana, thank you. Miles Michaelis leading 1-0, has 1 out here in the fifth inning, and he deals to Mike Zunino with a strike. And the updated standings in the AL West. Oakland now just a half game behind the Angels. Angels at home tonight against the Marlins. And looking at the scoreboard, Miami leading 7-0 in the fifth inning down the coast. Breaking ball that finds the upper reaches of the strike zone. It is 0-2 to Zunino. Zunino threw a walk his first time up there tonight. Got to be careful with this guy. We mentioned kind of an all or nothing hitter. 18 home runs, but just a .206 average.
He looks like, based on his stats, Buzz, he's the definition of one of those guys that if you make the pitch you're trying to make, you got a great chance to get him and maybe strike him out. But he's got a lot of power, and if you miss to him, then he can take you deep just as quick, too.
Michaelis readies for the 1-2 pitch. It's fouled straight back. Almost exactly half of Zunino's hits, that stat will tell you, have been extra base hits, 36 of 73. Another 1-2. And this one popped up. Rosales into foul territory. Adam there to make the grab. That is out number 2, and will bring up Andy Chavez.
That's a hanging curveball, but he didn't have a real good swing at it. It's one of those pitches that if it was on the outside part of the plate, he might have been able to extend his arms a little bit better. But it stayed in and tied him up, and just wasn't able to do much with it.
Chavez grounded to first, his first time up there. Takes a knee-high strike, 0-1. Chavez, the veteran, 36-year-old from Venezuela, Valencia, Venezuela. Fouls that pitch off. Chavez was a Ranger from 2010 to 2011. Didn't appear in the major leagues in 2010. He was working his way back from injuries. But 2011, played in 83 games and hit .301 for Texas. Oh, 0-2 the count. Got him swinging.
Miles getting it done.
Michaelis get that high fastball by Chavez. That is 5 straight now sent down by Michaelis. We're going to the 6th inning. Rangers 1, Mariners nothing. All right, it's time now for the Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $1,300 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight, the Rangers are hitting for Ron Dittmer of Watauga. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Ron Dittmer from Watauga will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Well, Ron, here you go. You got Adrian Beltre starting things off, and he will be facing a different pitcher as Brandon Maurer has come into the ballgame to take over for the Mariners.
Oh, Maurer, we've seen quite a bit of Maurer. We've seen him as a reliever. We've seen him as a starter. His numbers aren't all that good, but he's got an excellent arm. His fastball can reach the mid-90s. And you got a pretty good assortment of other pitches to go along with it.
Adrian Beltre, a rip and a miss. It is 0-2. Maurer, pretty good slider, an occasional changeup. Both basic fastballs, high and tight. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The appeal at Adrian's request and Zunino's request of Clint Fagan, who said no swing. Beltre has walked in line to right field, 0 for 1 tonight. Shallow right field. Chavez makes the catch, and that is out number 1. So Beltre skies out. Now J.P. Arancibia will come up. Maurer, a big guy at 6'5". He's about 220 pounds. Just turned 24 in July. side of the Mariners back in 2008. And it takes first pitch to Aaron Seavey outside for ball one. Mauer that year was the 23rd round pick of the Mariners. Aaron Seavey, a towering fly ball down the left field line. Ackley near the foul line and just in foul territory, able to make the grab for out number 2. Aaron Seavey, a clap of his hands as he went back to the dugout. He knew he just missed that one.
He's had a lot of balls like that. He's definitely trying to pull the ball. There's no doubt about that. He's trying to pull the ball and hit it out of the ballpark. He's had a lot of balls that he's hit solidly and pulled foul. He's had a lot of them that he's just barely hit a little bit toward the end of the bat. And it hasn't quite connected, but he's come close a lot of times.
Adam Rosales 0 for 2 tonight. A strikeout and a fly to center. Now we're missing outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mauer a starter until this year, all the way through his minor league career and major league career up to this point. He had been a starter. The Mariners trying to find a spot where he's comfortable and where everybody's comfortable with him. He decided on the bullpen, and he's turned in some good performances out there. It's high and tight, 3-1 now. So with 2 outs, Rosales trying to get aboard, keep this Ranger inning alive, and Leonis Martin will be next. Popped him up. Towering pop-up on the left side. Seager and Taylor. Taylor making the call on the catch, and that'll do it. So Mauer sends the Rangers down in order. And we finished 5.5 in Seattle. It's the Rangers 1, the Mariners nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. The Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event, now playing at a Ford dealer near you. Very, very comfortable evening here with the roof open at Safeco Field. Nice crowd on hand watching the Rangers and the Mariners. A pretty good pitchers duel tonight. Miles Michaelis still on the hill for the Rangers. Buenos Elias out of the ball game after 5 innings, but Miles has been very strong and kept his pitch count at a very manageable level. He is still under 60 pitches going to the 6th inning. Chris Taylor, the young shortstop, will start things off. Taylor, then the top of the order, Austin Jackson and Dustin Ackley. Taylor, a ground ball to third, his first time up. Michaelis drops in that breaking ball for strike one. That was the 60th pitch of the night for Miles Michaelis.
Miles has had a number of games where in the fifth inning, after the fifth inning, is 85 or above. So as far as the pitch count goes, this is one of his best games at managing his count. Throwing a lot of strikes. 61 pitches, 42 strikes, only 19 balls. Probably the best ratio that he's had.
Taylor waiting. Michaelis sets. The 0-2 pitch. It's out of play to the right. Chris Taylor just about ready to turn 24. He'll be 24 in about 3 days. He was a fifth-round selection in the 2012 draft, so just year before last, out of the University of Virginia. And another foul back. Still 0-2.
Good 94-mile-an-hour fastball. He got it up and in. Good location, 0-2. Jammed him.
With Tacoma at AAA. Chris Taylor up among the league leaders, 328 with 5 home runs. And he pulls that ground ball foul. Matter of fact, in the Pacific Coast League at the time of his call-up, Taylor was second in average and third in triples and fourth in runs scored. So it was a pretty well-rounded offensive machine. And he hasn't slowed down much since he got to the big leagues. Another 0-2 pitch. And another foul ball. Michaelis adjusting his cap, getting back on top of the rubber, and Chris Taylor never leaving the batter's box. Got him swinging. Down and away, looked like a cutter, and Michaelis gets his 4th strikeout of the night. Yeah, that was a true slider.
Yeah, and great location with it too.
Sure was.
Especially after a good fastball up and in. There's no way you'd be prepared to hit that pitch.
Well, Austin Jackson, as you look at the breakdowns, first, second, and third time through the order. Jackson a strikeout and a line drive to third.
And so far tonight, pretty good. Third time through the order. 0 for 6. Throwing it there, it's going to be 0 for 7.
Michaelis reading the signs from Tilly's. Right-hander is ready. 1-2. The pitch totals for you, 19 the tops, and that was back in the second. A couple of single-digit pitch innings and an 11 pitch inning. It's been a consistent night for Michaelis. Line drive it right at Elvis. Step to his left, and Austin Jackson twice now has lined out. Once to third, and now once to short. 2 gone. Dustin Ackley coming up, and before we tell you about Ackley, Chevron would like to give you tomorrow's starters. James Paxton, the young left-hander on the hill for the Mariners, and Nick Martinez, the young right-hander for the Rangers. 17 starts for Martinez. Paxton coming back off injuries, just 6 starts for the Mariners. That'll be a 9 o'clock Central Time start on Fox Sports Southwest for you. 2-away, base is empty. Dustin Ackley takes an off-speed pitch in for strike 1. Ackley is struck out and grounded to short. Michaelis back to him, and he popped it up. Elvis just backing out into the outfield grass makes the catch, and Miles Michaelis now has retired the last 8 Mariners he'd faced. 3 up, 3 down in the 6th. On to the 7th we go. 1-0 Rangers. With a lot of zeros on the scoreboard tonight, just 5 total base hits. Only run of the game, J.P. Arancibia drove home Elvis Andrus with that run in the 4th inning for the Rangers. Meanwhile, Miles Michaelis has made it stand up. No runner past second base for Seattle tonight. Miles giving up just those 2 hits. And Rangers coming to bat here in the 7th inning.
What just happened?
Well, Mauer was ready to work. He was into his windup, didn't look, and Leonis Martin was backing out of the batter's box. And the home plate umpire, Todd Tishner, I think was in the middle of trying to call time. And Mauer just kept on throwing, kept on going and throwing it in the dirt. That pitch a little bit low.
You see the umpire?
Yeah.
He's getting out of the way, boy.
Can't say that I blame him.
I don't either. He called time, but then he said, here comes the ball. I got to get out of the way of that thing. No, I don't blame him a bit.
Martin tonight 0 for 1, a strikeout and a walk. Taps it over the mound. Going to be a tough play for Cano. Bare hand throws, and it's wide, and it goes into the photographer's bay. So down to second goes Martin on an infield single and an error on Cano. Well, a spectacular effort, though, by Cano. That ball was not rolling on the grass. It was a bouncer, and he was barehanding it and almost got him.
Yeah, and if it was a decent runner instead of a fast runner, and he made a good throw, it would have been beautiful. But with a really fast runner, he has to get rid of it quicker than he wanted to. Couldn't do it accurately, and probably wouldn't have done it in time anyway. Rangers got to pick up a run here.
Well, here's Talese, who turns around a bat from the left side now. He's around a bunt and gets it down very nice on the third baseline. Seager, the throw is not in time.
I'll say it was a nice bunt. How about that for your first
Tomas Talis,
first big league hit, a sacrifice bunt.
Hit. Isn't that something?
Turns a sacrifice bunt into a hit. Not sure where Seager was on that play. I mean, when he squared around with a man on second in a close game, you would have thought Seager was halfway between third base and home plate. Wheels Talis gets his first hit.
Did he understand that he had to put the antler sign up?
Seager's way too far back there. Although I think what Seager was thinking, the pitcher was going to make the play. But
so runners at the corners now and nobody out. Rougned Odor, an opportunity here to add on for the Rangers. Odor has slid to center and been out on a nice play by Robinson Cano going up the middle. Did he get the antler sign?
He might not know the signs yet.
Might not know that sign yet. Okay. Chop to the left side. To second, they get one. And no return throw as that ball just not hit sharply enough. In to score, Leonis Martin. And the RBI fielder's choice ground out by Rougned Odor makes it a 2-0 Ranger lead. Well, there you go. There's a case of making contact, getting the run home, and in a very close ball game, that is extremely important. 28th RBI for Odor this year.
He probably envisioned where his first hit would go, and I doubt he got that far.
Yeah, probably.
Probably had some ground balls, some line drives, maybe even a home run. But I don't think he envisioned a sacrifice bunt turning into his first big league hit. Good thing is he executed the fundamental of getting that sacrifice bunt down just right.
Sure
That's
did.
not always the case in the big leagues.
Now here's Daniel Robertson for his fourth at bat of the night. He is 1 for 1 officially, having doubled and walked twice. Got Rougned Odor at first. A run in with one out here in the 7th inning. Big hole on the right side, very inviting for Daniel Robertson. He loves to take the ball that way. And with Logan Morrison, the first baseman, holding Odor, that even increases the size of that hole on the right side. Good look at Cano kind of shading up the middle toward the bag. 0-1 pitch. Top foul on the right and back into the seats. 0-2 to Robertson. Daniel, a .294 average. He was trying to move along Rougned Odor and get the Rangers in a position to add some more runs. Mauer okays the sign and sets. Hard slider, and Robertson able to check his swing. 1-2. Washington, Tim Bogard keeping an eye on things. Mauer ready to work again. Center field. Austin Jackson there to make the catch. Back to first goes Odor. That is out number 2, and Elvis Andrus will come up. Hey, Sooner fans, football is finally back. Don't miss your chance to see the Sooners in their first game of the season on August the 30th against Louisiana Tech. Game is only available on pay-per-view, so call your cable or satellite provider to get more information, and don't miss the Sooners' 2014 opener. Oh, 0-1 the count to Elvis Andrus. A single and a run scored in that 4th inning. Other than that, he has grounded to first and struck out. Odor, the runner at first, 2 away. The slider. It's the top part of the strike zone. It is 0-2. Fox tracker showing you just touching that upper limit. Mauer back to the plate. Got him swinging. Well, Brandon Mauer comes back to get the last 2 outs, but gives up a run on 2 hits with 1 left. It's stretch time in Seattle. Rangers 2, Mariners 0. Will be in town to start that homestand, and on Friday, September the 5th, the game against the Mariners will also feature a post-game fireworks show set to the music from the Star Wars movie series. This is the second to last fireworks show of this season, so be sure to get your tickets now. You don't want to miss that. $15 tickets in the upper reserve section are available at TexasRangers.com/specials by using the coupon code fireworks. Miles Michaelis set to start the 7th inning. And he will face Robinson Cano, Kendrys Morales, and Kyle Seager, heart of the Mariner order. And Cano takes high and outside. He was just about ready to jump out of his shoes at that and held back. Cano 1 out of 2 tonight. He is lined out and single to center. 1 ball and 1 strike as Miles got that changeup over.
Only 74 pitches for Miles, 53 strikes.
Good outing for Miles Michaelis, not only from the shutout standpoint, but just a couple of hits and really hasn't gotten himself in anywhere close to hot water. Left center field, going back is Robertson. He gets there in time to stop and make the grab. Cano is out number 1. Take time here for a Mazda game break. Once again, here's Dana Larson. Dana? All right, Dana, thank you. They have to run the film at a lot faster speed when Stanton's hitting. Otherwise, you miss the home run altogether.
Well, that batting practice he put on in our ballpark was pretty impressive. I'm sure he does that everywhere, really. That was fun to watch.
I got a chance to see him in Miami. It wasn't quite as good. He must have been kind of wishy-washy about it. He only hit him 440 or so.
Yeah.
Morales, a check swing. It's a strike anyway. 1-1. Kendrys Morales is fouled out and grounded into a double play. That double play, very big. It was the first time and the only time the Mariners got their leadoff man aboard in an inning. And Morales grounded into a 4-6-3 double play that took care of it. Here he's going to pop out for the second out of inning number 7. Elvis is there right behind Adrian Beltre, who is explaining to him where his line is, and Elvis can't go there. Elvis is not. I'm back on the grass.
Elvis is saying, I don't mind you doing that, but just don't come too close. Look, there's the line
There's the
right
line.
there. Don't
That's
go
right.
past the line, dude. No smiles in that little.
No, that was semi-serious.
And, really, Adrian's a little too close to him right there. I don't think he really cares. But
I don't think so either. Kyle Seager now fouling that first pitch off. Adrian still telling him. Elvis said, hey, look, I'm going to be 26 tomorrow. I can go over where I want to over there now. Adrian's not buying that either. 0-1 to Seager. Kyle's been out on a long fly ball to left. Also a ground ball to third. Good fastball.
He's still pumping his fastball in there at 93 and 94 miles an
Yep.
hour. But it's been the assortment of pitches and the command that he's had tonight that's getting the job done for him. It's just a pretty good example. We've said all along, even the games where he wasn't having any success at all, it's not because he doesn't have good stuff. It's just because he's not throwing the ball where he wants to.
Right.
Tonight he's throwing the ball where he wants to.
And that breaking ball almost came through the back door.
That's what he was trying to do with
Yep.
it.
Bill Mostelis going out there after it, framing it for home plate umpire Todd Tishner. Watch him keep that pitch right there. And Fox Trackers, no, that wasn't a strike. 1-2 pitch. Tried it again. That was almost in the same spot. Now 2-2. Word on Phillies from those who have watched him develop is that the development catching the defensive part of the game has really accelerated over the last year. That he has figured a lot of things out. He's getting more comfortable behind the plate, throwing the ball better to the bases. A 3-ball, 2-strike count to Kyle Seager. Michaelis with the payoff pitch. To left field, Robertson coming in and toward the line makes the grab, and that will do it. So that is 11 straight now set down by Michaelis and the Rangers. We're going to the 8th inning. It remains the Rangers 2 and the Mariners nothing. Our AT&T U-verse rewind. How about getting something going without getting the ball out of the infield? Leonis Martin got the infield hit, went to second on the error, and then Tomas Telis gets his first major league hit on the bunt. Hit a ground ball to short for the fielder's choice. In to score, Leonis Martin, and that you could say is manufacturing a run. Tomas Telis getting that job done. That was his first major league hit on what was going to be a sacrifice bunt, but he legged out the throw. Now we go to the 8th inning. That was a big run, too, because now the Rangers lead 2-0. And the new pitcher on the hill for the Seattle Mariners is the big right-hander, Yoervis Medina.
Well, we've seen a lot of Medina, and he's got a really good sinker and a hard slider. His 53rd ball game, an excellent ERA, a strikeout per inning, keeps the ball in the ballpark, and opponents hitting below 200 against him.
Well, Medina to face Alex Rios, Adrian Beltre, and J.P. Arancibia here in the 8th inning. Rangers with 2 runs on 5 hits. Mariners no runs on just 2 hits off of Miles Michaelis through 7 innings. Alex Rios 0 for 3 tonight. He has struck out a couple of times and popped out. .281 the average for the Ranger right fielder. Medina up on top of the hill. Takes the sign, gets ready. Knee-high strike, 0-1. Rios in his career 1 for 5 against Medina. Next pitch, hard slider, and Alex able to check his swing. The appeal down to first, and Clint Fagan said, nope, no swing. Medina also a pretty good size right-hander at 6'3". He's listed at 245. Puerto Cabello, Venezuela is where he's from. Breaking ball backs Alex Rios away from the plate, catches the inside corner. 1-2. Medina signed with the Mariners back in 2005. He just turned 17 at that time, and it's a fly ball, shallow right field. Long run in for Chavez, a dive, and he can't get it. It's in and out of his glove. Going for 2 is Rios. He's in with a slide and a leadoff double.
The last 2 days, the Rangers are getting a lot of leadoff men on base. Good hustle by Alex. Great try by Chavez out in right field. Out for a second, he almost made a great play. Comes up firing too. If Alex wasn't going full bore all the way to second, Indy would have thrown him out. No, he didn't. He trapped it anyway, didn't he?
Yeah. Recognition that the ball was going to be playable for him.
That kicked it into another gear, didn't it?
It did. So Rios, the leadoff double, and here's Beltre. Ball 1 to him. Adrian twice has gone to the right side. He's lined to right field and flied to right field. Also walked tonight. 0 for 2. Beltre 2 out of 8 against Medina. Big right-hander checks Rios at second. Beltre taking all the way. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Adrian played here in the Pacific Northwest, member of the Mariners for 5 years. Signed a big free agent contract after his huge year as a member of the Dodgers. Had 48 home runs down there. And came up here to Seattle and didn't enjoy nearly that amount of success. Spent 2005 through 2009 here in Seattle. Alex Rios at second base. Beltre trying to get him over and get him in. 2-1 the count as Medina sets. And 3-1. Now Zunino and Cano going to go out and have a chat with Yoervis Medina. Again, a hitter like Beltre, you have first base open. You get behind in the count to him. You want to make sure that you're not on the a different page with your catcher. Catcher probably thinking, hey, we can't give him a pitch he can drive now. This is the one guy in the order. And Lloyd McClendon's probably mulling over the idea of just putting him on right now. Saw J.P. Arancibia, the next hitter. If you're not careful here, this could turn real ugly for a pitcher in a hurry. 3-1 the count.
He doesn't need a good pitch to hit to get a hit.
Well, he got one there to chop to third. There's that sinker you were talking about, Tom. And Medina, kind of the equalizer, able to throw that on a 3-1 pitch and get a ground ball.
Yeah.
Now, while we have a second here, let's take a look at our AT&T fan photo selection of the night. And if you folks want to tweet your photos, that's hashtag Southwest Fan Photo. Tonight's coming to us from Steve. We appreciate that. Eric, that is history. Eric Dadale's famous call. Appreciate it, Steve. Thank you very much. And we will have a selection for each game on Fox Sports Southwest for you this year. Thanks to the folks at AT&T for making this possible to be part of our broadcast. Arancibia trying to get out of the way of that fastball up and in. Fouled it off in the check swing. 0-1. Arancibia 1 for 3 tonight. An RBI single in the fourth inning that plated the first Ranger run. JP now 8 home runs, 31 driven in. Got Rios at second, 1 out in the 8th inning. Breaking ball stays inside. A ball and a strike. Arancibia getting out of that extremely open stance that Tom was talking about before. One and two. Medina doing a little soul searching on the mound, trying to figure out what he wants to do on this 1-2 pitch to Arancibia. Rios peering in from his vantage point at second base. Got him swinging. Went back with a hard breaking ball, and Arancibia strikes out. Medina was headed to the dugout. I got 2 of this thing. That's enough.
Yeah, that when you've got an open stance and you're trying to pull the ball, that's a tough one to hit. Medina's going to probably get rung up in kangaroo court for that one.
I would think so. He didn't disguise it very well either.
If we watched all the fielders, I bet you there was at least one fielder that took a step with him. He said, "Well, I thought there was 2 outs, but that pitcher must know."
Would that go to a video review now on the kangaroo court?
If they could get one.
Now here's Adam Rosales. Rosales tonight 0 for 3. A fly ball, a pop out. And now a saw
That's a
to
hit.
short. And Taylor has nowhere to throw the ball, so he just stands there and looks at the bases. Nothing he can do about it. That ball. Well, I hope you hit enough pitch shots tomorrow, Tom, that stop that.
Stop
quickly.
just like that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of fans in the stands that have seen that over the last 15 years in this ballpark, because Ichiro's done that about 20 times.
Now Rosales with the infield single.
Look where that ball hit. That ball hit about 6 inches above his fist. Luckily, he gets it over the pitcher's head. It just stops. Shortstop knows there's no sense to throw it.
First and third now with 2 outs. Here's Leonis Martin. 0-1. Martin, an infield single, scored the second Ranger run, or then he scored the second Ranger run. Advanced on an error. Came home on a Rougned Odor fielder's choice. He's got Alex Rios at third and Adam Rosales over at first. 2 outs in the 8th. Rangers trying to add to their 2-0 lead. Out of play, down the left side. Over to take a look, Seager and Taylor. That ball back 5 rows. 0-2 now. 21,620 on hand here tonight, a Monday night in Seattle. Mariners pushing toward the 2 million mark this year. Certainly the way they've been playing, and the crowds will start to increase here at Safeco. Martin waiting as Medina sets. Deep swing. Now Medina with that big breaking ball, and he gets to a couple of strikeouts in the inning. Rangers get a couple of hits, but Strand 2. Bottom of the 8th coming up. The Rangers 2, the Mariners nothing. A 2-0 lead, and Miles Michaelis back to the hill to start the 8th inning. Michaelis now has retired 11 straight as he begins the 8th. And Rangers now second in the American League in shutouts. They trail the Tampa Bay Rays, who have 17. Rangers are 15. Toronto and Oakland are the next two in order. Miles Michaelis blanking so far through 7 innings. And his career high as a starter this year, 7 1/3. That was in the outing against the Yankees back on July 21st at Yankee Stadium. Logan Morrison to start things off. Morrison 1 for 2 tonight. Breaking ball drops in. 0-1. Morrison a single in the second. Fly ball to center in the 5th inning. Just 2 base hits and 1 walk allowed by Michaelis tonight. 1 ball and 1 strike. Alex Claudio, Roman Mendez. The Ranger bullpen loosening. Michaelis about ready to throw his 87th pitch of the night. Chopper foul. And the count goes to 1-2. Ron Washington getting the news today that he's going to be without one more of his regulars. Shin-Soo Choo on the disabled list now will have elbow surgery when he recuperates from the virus. He'll be finished for the year. And uncertainty expressed today by Rangers President and General Manager John Daniels about the health of Yu Darvish. There's a base hit to center, and Morrison, with his second safety of the night, leads off the 8th inning by getting aboard.
He made some good pitches to get ahead 1-2, and then he hung that curveball right up about belt high, and Morrison jumped on it. Trying to get it down, and it just stays right up and out over the plate for him.
Yep. Pretty easy pickings for a guy like Logan Morrison.
And he's, as we've said earlier in the game, he's been hot. Last 22 games, he's hitting way over 300. 2 more hits tonight.
The 1 on, nobody out. Here's Mike Zunino, who has walked and fouled out. And he hits a double play grounder to Beltre. To Odor. Back to first, picked out of the dirt by Rosales. Around the horn it goes, 5-4-3. The second double play of the night turned behind Michaelis. The second time a leadoff man had gotten aboard. The Rangers turned the deal.
Yeah, and how about Miles? He makes a bad pitch, gives up a line drive base hit, and then comes right back and throws a good sinker, gets the ground ball, 2 quick outs, and right back in charge now. Good job right there, coming back after the base hit to make the pitch to get the double play.
And with that double play, Michaelis now a new career high with 7 2/3 innings of work here tonight.
And Morrison went in hard at second base,
yes,
too.
He did.
Rougned hung right in there.
There is a strike to Chavez. Indy tonight is grounded out and struck out. Chavez a 273 average. Michaelis with the 0-1 pitch. 0-2. Miles just over the 90 pitch mark here with 2 outs in the 8th inning. Phillies flashing the signs. Miles Michaelis picks out one he wants. The 0-2 to Chavez. Got him swinging. Phillies will complete the strikeout down at first. And Miles Michaelis, with his 5th strikeout of the night, ends up being a 3 at-bat inning. The base hit, the double play. We're going to the 9th. 2-0 Texas. T-Ubers presents the matchup with Adrian Beltre and the Rangers and Kyle Seager and the Mariners. A 9 o'clock start Texas time tomorrow evening with you on Fox Sports Southwest from Safeco Field. It'll be the middle game of this 3-game series. Beltre a .500 average in his last 8 ball games. Kyle Seager always tough against the Rangers, .400 since the start of last year. And that'll be tomorrow night. We still have some work to finish up here in the 9th inning at Safeco tonight. And Charlie Furbush has come out of the Seattle bullpen to take over.
Yeah, a nice solid season for Furbush. ERA is under 4. Good strikeout to walk ratio, 42-8. Kind of a side winding left-hander. Looks like he'd be really tough on left-hand hitters.
Well, Furbush is going to face the switch hitting Tomas Teliz starting off this 9th inning. And it'll be the left-handed hitting Rougned Odor and right-handed hitting Daniel Robertson. Rangers 2 runs on 7 hits tonight. Mariners no runs on just 3 hits at the hands of Miles Mikolas through 8 innings. Well, here's Teliz, who had his first major league hit on a bunt last time up. He takes a strike. Teliz up there trying to sacrifice Leonis Martin from second to third with nobody out, and laid down a perfect bunt down the third baseline, and he was able to leg out the throw at first base. 0-2 now. Mikolas, Mike Carp. Pretty tense over there, huh?
Well, Felice is throwing out in the bullpen. I wonder if he's done.
Might be. Just over 90 pitches. The 0-2. Got him swinging. Furbush and pretty nasty breaking pitches. 1 gone. Next will be Rougned Odor. Odor, an RBI and a fielder's choice groundout in the 7th inning. And that increased the Ranger lead to its present 2-0 status. Rougned tonight 0 for 3. The RBI is 28th of the year. Furbush extremely tough on left-handers. And you can see why with that kind of a delivery. Left-hander back to the plate. That ball's got to look like he's throwing from second base, where the second baseman is.
I don't know how you hit that thing.
No, I think the answer for most left-handers is you don't.
But it's how I guess a right-hand hitter must have felt against Dennis Eckersley.
Yeah, probably.
He was coming at you from that side-winding delivery.
That ball starting probably behind Rougned and didn't quite come in far enough. 1-2 the count. Zunino flashing the signs out. And Furbush says, yep, we'll do that one. 1-2 pitch. Right off the end of the bat, Furbush. A tough play, the throw, and just did get it. Well, that's a good play by Furbush.
He got something on that throw. And the ball hit and rolled a little bit toward the foul line. Looked like it'd be a base hit. And Furbush picked it up and gunned it 90 miles an hour across the infield and got it to first base. It spins over toward the line, still able to make the play.
Well, Furbush fielding his position very well on that play. Fortunately for a left-hander like him, he falls off that way a little bit. So he had kind of a head start, but still took a great play to get the speedy Rougned Odor. Here's Daniel Robertson. Robertson 1 for 2 officially tonight. A couple of walks and a double. The first pitch to him is inside for ball 1. .292, Daniels' average. Verbush with the 1-0 pitch. Ground ball to Cano. And that'll do it. So Verbush has a very quick and easy 1-2-3 ninth. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth inning. Will it be Neftali Feliz coming in for the save? We'll tell you when we come back on Fox Sports Southwest. Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. By AT&T U-verse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT, mobilizing your world. And by your Texas Ford dealer. The Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event. Now playing at a Ford dealer near you. Now, Miles Michaelis will not have a shot at his first professional complete game. Instead, it will be the Ranger closer, 26-year-old Neftali Feliz, coming in to start the ninth inning.
Yep, solid numbers for Neffy, 6 out of 7. That's the bottom line in his job. Opponents are hitting 178 against him.
Miles Michaelis tonight, a great line, 8 shutout innings, new career high in innings pitched, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Well, he put it together tonight against a very hot offensive team for the Seattle Mariners. Now he turns it over to the closer for the Rangers to see if Neftali can get things taken care of here.
You're talking about them being hot, Buzz. Since the trade deadline, they're averaging 5 runs a game. That's the second most in the big leagues this month. So they have been scoring a lot of runs. Shows how well Miles threw the ball and shut them down tonight.
And Chris Taylor, the number 9 man, takes strike 1 from Feliz. Taylor 0 for 2, a ground ball to third and a strikeout. Neffy back to the plate. 0-2. Feliz came in yesterday and got the save against Kansas City. Worked that 1 inning and gave up 1 hit, had 1 strikeout. Similar situation as to tonight, considering it a 2-run lead. Yesterday was 3-1. Tonight it's 2-0. Ron Washington watching the closer for his club down the stretch. Keep a close eye on him to see how he fares. Foul back. And it's part of the evaluation process. Rangers need to find out where they are, not only with Neftali, but with the entire ball club. Guys that are available to them, put them in situations, see how they respond. So you have a better idea when you go to spring training next year what to expect. Another 1-2 pitch. That will even the count. Phillies from the Dominican Republic in his 5th year at the major league level. To right field, Alex Rios toward the line and in. One gone. So Phillies gets the leadoff man, and that's critical in the 9th inning like this. Now he will face Austin Jackson. Jackson 0 for 3 tonight, although he has lined out his last 2 times up, once to third and once to short. Jackson has had some success against Phillies. He's 2 for 6. One of those 2 was a double. He's also walked 1 time. Taking all the way, it is strike 1. Outfield plays Jackson slightly around to the right. Infield just about straight up. Base hit to left field. And Jackson is aboard with a 1-out single. And Dustin Ackley now comes to the plate representing the tying run.
And what you're kind of hoping is for a 1-2-3 inning so you don't have to see Cano in a 2-run game. Low fastball. 94 miles an hour. He got the bat around on it. He's hit the ball hard 3 times tonight. A couple of line drives to the infield and then that well-hit single.
Ackley 0 for 3. He has popped out, grounded out, and struck out. Taking strike 1. Ackley 0 for 4 with a strikeout against Phillies. Effie sets at the belt. To right field. Rios coming on, picks it off the grass. The throw back to first, not in time.
Whoa.
Jackson almost caught too far off the bag, and Rios, a great jump on the ball. Able to pick it off his shoe tops and made a strong, accurate throw. Almost double off Jackson.
Ackley looked like he got a high changeup. A beautiful play by Rios. He had to get a good jump and he had to have confidence that he could catch that. It looked like a sinking line drive. He took it right off the ground. A strong throw to first, too.
Well, that is out number 2. And here comes Robinson Cano.
I wouldn't recommend that same pitch to Cano.
Cano, a 4th inning single. He is also lined to third and fly to left field. Adam Rosales letting Neftali Feliz know that he's not going to hold Austin Jackson at first. He wants to back up and have as much lateral range as possible. 1 ball, no strikes. Cano, 326 with the average. 11 home runs, 70 RBI. He represents the tying run in this ballgame. There goes Jackson. The pitch is fouled back. And Austin Jackson will have to retrace his steps. Robinson Cano is 2 for 4 against Neftali Feliz. A home run and a single. Feliz reading the signs. Now Cano asked for time. He wants to dig in a little bit better. Jackson at first. Rosales right behind him. And Cano going after that high fastball, fouled it back.
Well, the more pitches he's thrown, the faster they're getting. Started out at 93. Now to Cano, it's been 95, and the last one was 96. So he's got the adrenaline pumping now with a tying run at the plate. But there's a difference between throwing that pitch right there at 96 or 91.
Yep. Chances are you don't get that back at 91.
No.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Phillies has the sign. Jackson away from first. The pitch to Cano. Fouled away. Jackson was on the move, and he'll have to come back to first. Well, this is the man that the Mariners went out and got for this exact situation. They needed a run producer. They needed a quality hitter in the middle of their order, and they're building that order around Robinson Cano. Another 1-2 pitch. And another foul ball. Ron Washington got to be happier with what he's seeing from Phillies tonight than what he saw down in Miami when he had to go out there in the 9th inning and give him a talking to. Phillies to Cano. High and outside. Jackson to second. Defensive indifference. And the count is 2-2 to Cano. Never easy for the skipper, is it? The next pitch to center field. Leonis Martin coming in, stops, makes the grab, and that is a winner. Neftali Feliz with the save. Miles Michaelis with the win. The Rangers get back-to-back victories. Yesterday over Kansas City. Tonight over Seattle with a 2-0 final. Their 16th shutout of the year. And that is second only to the Tampa Bay Rays in the American League. So Neftali Feliz with the 9th inning where he gave up a 1-out single to Austin Jackson but left him stranded. Getting Dustin Ackley to line to right field and Cano to fly out to center. And that will do it for the Mariners. Adrian Beltre and company getting the job done tonight, even though they were limited to 7 hits.
He took a little something off. He did a great job to Cano keeping the ball away from him. With 95 and 96 mile-an-hour fastballs, he was kind of hanging in there, fouling him off. Nothing he could really drive. And then he threw him a little changeup, took something off it. Same location, tailing away from him. He's a little bit out in front of it, didn't get much behind it, and that was the soft fly ball to center field that ended the ball game.
Well, Ron Washington's club, a win yesterday, a win here tonight. Good way to start this road trip off, and a very big night for Miles Michaelis and company, getting the win here against the Seattle Mariners, who came in winners of 3 consecutive games. They had swept the Boston Red Sox in Fenway over the weekend, coming back home very much on a good roll, but they were quieted tonight and quieted in style. Just 4 hits for the Seattle Mariners tonight. And the man who was primarily responsible, at least for the first 8 innings of this shutout, Miles Michaelis, is joining us. Miles, congratulations, an outstanding effort here tonight for you.
Thank you very much. It was an exciting game to be in.
Miles, you're facing a team that's pretty hot. They're averaging 5 runs a game this month. Did you have any special game plan against these individual hitters, or were you just pitching your ball game?
Yeah, I think the important thing is to just always try to pitch my ball game. Throw strikes, change speeds. You know, against good pitches, any team is the same as any other, I guess.
Yeah, you were working tonight with Tomas Telis, working his first game behind the plate as Major Leagues. Any special considerations for that matchup with you?
I just knew that, being his first game up here, he was going to be a little bit nervous. I just told him to have fun, go out there, have fun, and pitch our game. We got the scouting report. He gets the same one that I get, so we're on the same page for most of the game there, but he was great back there.
In a close game like that, Miles, any one pitch can turn the game around one way or the other. It looked like the best pitch you made after Morrison got the single in the 8th inning. The pitch that you made to get the ground ball was an excellent pitch.
Yeah, that was a huge pitch. I mean, I had a great defense behind me the whole game. AB made some great plays there at third, some hot shots. He got his glove on, some good plays in the outfield, a couple double plays. I know that if I can keep the ball in the infield, our defense always has a chance.
Well, Miles, congratulations tonight. That was just an outstanding effort against a very hot team.
Thank you very much.
All right, Miles Michaelis joining us tonight. The win here this evening, 8 shutout innings for the Ranger right-hander as the Rangers defeat the Seattle Mariners 2-0 in the first of 3, and Miles Michaelis getting a hug and a pat on the back from the skipper, Ron Washington. We'll be back to wrap things up from Safeco Field right after this as the Rangers win it 2-0 on Fox Sports Southwest.